There is a strength that does not roar. It does not demand attention. It does not shout above the noise of the world. This strength lies quietly within you, waiting, not to be found, but to be remembered. This strength is your own energy. It is not something you acquire from the outside. It is not something that is given to you by titles, by victories, or by praise. It is not in the applause of the crowd, nor is it in the validation of others. The strength of your own energy arises from the deep connection you build with yourself. It comes when the mind is calm, when the breath is steady, and when your awareness is centered, not drifting between past and future, but grounded in the now. Many people walk through life like a leaf carried by the wind. They are influenced by every opinion, disturbed by every failure, excited by every success. But to live in this way is to be weak, not because you lack potential, but because you are not rooted. When you are rooted in your own energy, you no longer seek stability in unstable things. You do not depend on how the world treats you to determine how you feel. You no longer ride the roller coaster of external approval. Instead, you move like a mountain, still, unshaken, and steady. This is not detachment. This is clarity. It is not indifference. It is self-awareness. Cultivating the fire, imagine for a moment that deep within you there is a small flame. When you are born, this flame is pure. It does not judge, it does not doubt, it does not fear. It simply burns, but over time winds begin to blow, the wind of criticism, the wind of failure, the wind of comparison. And if you do not guard this flame, if you do not nurture it with care, it begins to flicker. Some allow the wind to extinguish it completely. Others learn how to build a shelter around it. That shelter is discipline. Energy is not only about how much you have. It is about how you use it. Without direction, your energy scatters. Like a flashlight with a weak beam, it barely illuminates your path. But when focused, when concentrated, your energy becomes like a laser, able to cut through doubt, through fear, through resistance. So how do you cultivate this inner fire? By training your attention, by disciplining your habits, by becoming conscious of the way you speak, the way you think, the way you carry yourself. The world will try to pull you in many directions, but the one who has cultivated his energy knows how to say, "This is where I stand. This is the direction I go." Stillness is power in a world that celebrates noise. Stillness may seem like weakness, but what most people do not realize is that stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of awareness. True stillness does not mean you do nothing. It means you act without inner conflict. It means you move from clarity, not from chaos. Have you ever watched a tiger before it leaps? It does not waste energy. It does not rush. It observes, it waits, and when it moves, it is with precision and power. Many people are exhausted, not because life is too demanding, but because their minds are constantly reacting. Reacting to thoughts, to opinions, to emotions. They spend more time in mental struggle than in physical action. When you train yourself to become still, you conserve your energy. You stop leaking power through unnecessary reactions. You begin to notice the space between the thought and the response, and in that space lies your strength. The ocean may seem still on the surface, but its depth holds tremendous power. You must become like that ocean. Calm on the surface, deep in spirit, breath, the bridge to power energy is not a concept, it is life itself. And the simplest, most immediate way to access your energy is through your breath. Observe a person who is angry. Their breath is shallow and rapid. Observe someone who is calm. Their breath is deep and slow. Your breath is the link between your body and your mind. It is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. By learning to control your breath, you begin to control your state. Before you speak, breathe. Before you react, breathe. Before you decide, breathe. This may sound simple, but simplicity does not mean insignificance. A sword is simple, but in the hands of a master, it can cut through anything. When you sit in silence, when you inhale with awareness, you are not just taking in air, You are charging yourself with life. You are reclaiming your focus. You are aligning your body with your intention. Let your breath be the foundation of your strength. Let it remind you that you are alive, not to merely survive, but to thrive with grace and discipline. The energetic imprint of action energy does not lie. Every action you take, every word you speak, carries an energetic imprint. Whether you speak with kindness or bitterness, whether you act with clarity or confusion, it leaves a mark on the field of your life. This is why consistency matters. When your energy is scattered, your life becomes chaotic. But when your energy is directed, your life becomes meaningful. You cannot expect peace if you cultivate anger. You cannot expect discipline if you entertain distractions. You cannot expect power if your thoughts are weak and undisciplined. So begin small. Speak less, but with intention. Act less, but with presence. Give your full energy to each moment, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. When you eat, eat fully. When you train, train fully. When you rest, rest fully. This is how energy gathers. This is how power is born, not through intensity, but through alignment. Overcoming energy blockages just as rivers encounter rocks and trees in their path. Your energy also faces blockages. These blockages are not physical. They are mental, emotional, and spiritual. The fear of failure. The weight of past trauma, the doubt of your own worth, these are not things you can escape. You cannot outrun your own shadow, but you can face it, you can understand it, and by doing so, you release its grip on you. Energy flows where attention goes, so if your attention is constantly on what you lack, on what you fear, on who hurt you, then your energy will remain trapped. But when you shift your focus to growth, to healing, to mastery, your energy begins to move again. Sometimes, to release a blockage, you must cry. Sometimes you must speak. Sometimes you must be still. Whatever the method, the goal is the same, to allow energy to flow freely again, because when your energy flows, you begin to feel light. Clear, connected, you begin to feel alive, not in the body only, but in spirit, inner alchemy, transforming pain into power. There is a teaching in many ancient traditions called alchemy. It is the transformation of lead into gold. But the real alchemy is not physical. It is inner, to take your pain and transform it into purpose, to take your weakness and turn it into wisdom, to take your chaos and turn it into clarity. This is the work of the warrior. The spiritual warrior, the one who does not fight others, but confronts the enemy within the habits, the doubts, the stories that weaken their energy, and through this inner battle, something new is born. Not perfection, but power, not arrogance, but confidence, not control over others, but mastery over self. This is what your energy is meant for, not to dominate, but to elevate. You are not here to escape your past. You are here to transform it. Every wound, every scar, every challenge has within it the seed of your evolution, but only if you are willing to sit with it, to learn from it, to use it. This is not easy. But nothing strong is ever born from ease. Energy in relationships, your energy does not exist in isolation. It moves through your words, through your presence, through your relationships. Some people will uplift you. Some will drain you. The wise do not judge. They observe. Ask yourself, after spending time with this person, do I feel more aligned or more distracted? More present or more anxious? Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is responsible, because when your energy is clean, everyone around you benefits. Your clarity inspires clarity. Your peace brings calm. Your discipline awakens discipline in others. Do not waste your energy trying to change others. Instead, become so rooted in your own vibration that others begin to rise just by being near you. This is how true leaders move, not through force, but through frequency. Energy and intention, everything begins with intention. Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you train? Why do you speak? Why do you walk the path you walk? When your actions are aligned with clear intention, Your energy becomes powerful. You are no longer pulled by desires or distractions. You are led by purpose. Intention gives your energy a direction. It turns routine into ritual, movement into meditation, work into worship. Without intention, even the strongest energy becomes wasted. Like a river without banks, it floods, but with intention it flows. Strong, focused, unstoppable. So set your intention each day, not just with words, but with awareness. Carry it like a sword. Sharpen it with practice. Honor it with action. Let your energy move with clarity, with courage, with conviction. Returning to the source in the end, everything returns to silence. All the noise, all the striving, all the effort. But this silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is presence. Your energy is not something you need to chase. It is something you need to uncover beneath the layers of distraction, beneath the masks, beneath the stories. It is already here. It was never lost. To touch this energy is to remember who you truly are, not the roles you play, not the name you carry, but the presence that watches, the stillness behind the movement, the awareness behind the thought. From this space, everything changes. You no longer try to prove. You no longer try to control. You simply express, radiate, serve, not because you are lacking, but because you are overflowing. This is the strength of your own energy, not given, not borrowed, but awakened. Final words, you are not powerless. Your energy is not small. You are a temple, a warrior, a mountain, a river, a flame. But only when you remember, return to your breath, return to your body, return to your center, and from that center walk with strength, not of the muscles, but of the spirit, not of domination, but of direction. The strength of your own energy is not something you find, it is something you become.